Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to this our focus, our webinar about focus, our assessment tool. We are very excited to have everyone on here today. We're just gonna the flow of the webinar is going to be very informal. So we want to invite you to ask questions in the Q&A. You can ask questions, or if you are streaming through Facebook, you can write comments in the comment box and we will try and answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. So let's go. Let me just welcome you. I'm Marlies, and this is Karen, my sister. We're the owners of BioLink Attention Training in South Africa, and we've got a few agencies also internationally. And just want to let's move on. Hold on. You know, technology is great when it works. Okay, there you go. Okay, I just want to give you a little bit about a background about what BioLink does before we move on to the focus assessment and how we use it. So at BioLink, we do neurocognitive training exercises. So if you think of your child and the skills your child needs to do well at school. So we need them to be able to read. We need them to be able to listen, to sit still, to not fidget, to have great memory, to have the ability to have mental flexibility, specifically when they have to make plans for, using that for maths. So it's important when we look at that skills, it's also important to understand what is the cognitive skills the child needs in order to have the ability to do that task. And that's usually the tasks that they struggle with. And then because of that, we see the behaviors. And most of the time, we only get the cognitive skill that most of the time is prominent is attention, but there's a lot of cognitive skills that does play a role, and they work together. So that is where we at BioLink, what we do is basically to strengthen the cognitive skills and also the executive functioning skills, so that your child will be able to focus, self-regulate, not fidget, stay on task. But also it's important when we work with kids, we have to understand which areas we have to focus on. So, and that is where we use the focus assessment. So just to give you a little bit about a background about the focus assessment. So the first, we developed the assessment together with AfriForte. Now, AfriForte is the commercial arm of the Workwell Research Unit for Economic and Management Science of Port University. So we went to them and said, but we want to measure certain attention aspects of attentional control, so that we know, how exactly to help our children. So AfriForte, also the company, we wanted to work with somebody that has got a great background, specifically when looking at psychometric testings, and they do have a lot of patterns and also peer-reviewed articles, specifically in this field. So how many years ago was it, Gordon?
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Time is going by so quickly. So the test then 2015, we started with the development and the research on the focus assessment. And the test was standardized and validated on around 330 participants. 3,300, sorry, participants, boys and girls, and the ages ranged from 5 years and upward, older than 55 years of age. And in 2017, we went to Washington, where we also launched the focus assessment at the American Psychological Association. And currently there is quite a few professionals worldwide using the focus assessment in their practices. Currently, at the moment, we tested more than 16,000 participants worldwide, and it's also, the test has been standardized and validated twice since the initial launch of the test. So it's very accurate, and it's one of the biggest, if you look at attention assessment data that's out there in the world, it's one of the biggest ones. So the other thing just as important that makes focus unique is, for the first time we developed a test that not only look at attention, brain processing, the brain processing time, and also impulsivity, but we also wanted to look at the effects that visual and auditory distractions had on a person. So, and focus is one of the, I'm not sure if it's the only one now, but we were certainly the first CPT test that actually looked at the distractions and the impact it has on the ability to pay attention. So just looking at the focus itself and what it does, it's a computerized performance test, so a CPT test, and it basically measures attentional control. So that's an individual's ability to pay attention to something and then also to be able to know what to ignore. And just going on, if we look at the 4 constructs of focus, I'm not going to go into too much detail.
I just want to quickly, I see people are raising their hands. So what we will do is we will go and look at all the comments afterwards, if that's okay with you. So as we are going through the presentation, we want to ask you just to type in your questions, and then we will handle all the questions afterwards. Okay.
Okay. So when we look at the 4 aspects of what the focus assessment test is, it says performance. So performance is the first positive building block or construct that is measured, and it basically measures, if I can put it in layman's terms, the ability to pay attention over a period of time. Sorry?
Diana, this processing.
Yeah. And sorry, we
do this.
This is what we do. So you can go on, and then I can.
No, you can go.
Okay.
Impulsive sister.
Yeah. So the performance, you have to be the ability to pay attention, but also then to process the information that comes in via either it's visual or auditory in I wouldn't say quick, but in the tiniest manner for the person to be able to then do the task. So that is, performance is looking at basically brain processing speed, brain processing speed.
How fast you can process
information. Yes. Karen's going to go into some of the
I'll give you practical
examples, but performance is basically the processing speed of the brain. And then if we look at consistency, that's basically the attention span, and also where you have to pay attention for a specific period of time, and then also if you do a task, do it accurately and then correctly. But to understand it, it's attention span. That's the layman's term. It's attention span. Impulsivity, we don't really have to go into much about impulsivity. I think most people understand what impulsive behavior looks like. And then also we're going to look at the distractions and the effect it has on the other 3 constructs. Okay, so Karen's going to go into the different constructs, and then because we always look at behaviors, we will then now correlate the behaviors with the constructs.
Yeah. Okay. So as you heard, my name is Karen. I'm the older sister, and focus really helps us a lot. When parents comes to us, I will tell them, listen, and this is what I want to tell all of you. When you do this focus assessment, it's not going to show you what is wrong with your child. Yes, we talked about, especially in all our advertising, we want to understand behavior. And so we are now going to go to the primary problem. But this assessment, and I want to say it again, is not showing you what is wrong with your child. This is going to show you what is my child's skill set now. Okay, so if I ask you now, and I don't want to go to the question and answers, but if you are on Facebook Live, maybe you can answer there. If I ask you, can you ride a bobsleigh? And I think most of you, and I chose that one specifically because there's no snow here. I usually use golf and then it just floors me. So if I ask you, can you ride a bobsleigh? You're going to tell me no. So my next question then always is, can I teach you? And then that answer is yes. And the same with all of these skills that is now challenges for our children. The good news is, yes, it's a challenge now, but can we retrain the brain? Can they get better? Yes. So that's why I'm saying this is not showing you what's wrong. It's showing you the skill set now. Okay. So that's, I need to get that out of the way. All right. So we want parents to be proactive. Proactive in the sense of, don't wait until grade 11, and I'm going to show you an example. Don't wait until grade 11 and the marks just went down and down and down, and now all of a sudden everything is wrong and now we have to rectify that. Remember, there's two reasons why parents will, like you guys, you are all here. There's always two reasons why people go out and look for help. The first one is behavior. That's why we have so many people on the call. Is I think, and I mean myself, I've got a little lot, Lamiki, behavior. And the other one is marks. That is the only two reasons why people seek help. And you know what? There's only one reason why they struggle with these two things. And can you guess what that is? Concentration. And it's not at all. There is so many other factors that you need to take in consideration.
It's not only
just that. Yeah. Okay, but it looks like concentration. Okay, so let's quickly go in with this. And now I'm going to note some behaviors, and you're going to say, yes, he does that, and you're going to feel bad. Don't feel bad, you didn't know this. But now let's look at consistency. Madly said, start a task, finish it in a given time, and my quality of work stays exactly the same. So if we look at behaviors that you will see, and maybe now for the first time, the behaviors that the teachers are complaining about is now going to be evident for you as well. Is number one, they struggle to start. Okay, you can't get them to start. If you get them started and you've got the bums on the chair, then 2 minutes, and they say, I just quickly need to go to the bathroom. But, Mom, I forgot something in my bag.
I'm thirsty.
I'm thirsty.
I'm hungry.
They do that, okay? And then you struggle to get them back. And then it's the same story over and over again. But why do they do that? This is what they're not naughty. They don't want to not listen. What do you do when you sit in a boring meeting and someone is listening, you're listening to someone? You start tapping your foot, or you start playing with a pen. You do that. What do children do? They don't have self-regulation at all. They stand up, or they fidget, or they go. That's what they do. So we are more controlled, but they can't. Okay, so they are not naughty.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to say something? You want
No.
to add?
I would say it's a mental thing. It's that mental strength that they need to be able to sustain their attention, and because they don't have it. And specifically when something is difficult, they're going to get up because
they don't want to do it.
It's the way out.
Yeah.
So that's the behavior.
That's right. And then also, don't you get so frustrated, and I got it now with my little one, is that we did spelling words, and then, you just go back and just quickly write that word. You were struggling a little bit, and then he looks at you and it's like, I've never written down this word ever. Okay. So it's that now I can do it. 10 minutes later, or 15, or an hour later, They can't do it. It's because the attention does that. Okay. You will see that with handwriting as well. Now it's okay. And then as they go through later and later, the handwriting just gets more untidy. Because they now don't want to do it. Their attention span is going down, and now they're just rushing through it, and then they become impulsive.
And lots of parents also sometimes, as an example, behaviors they see is where today, when the child studied for a test, they knew all the answers, but tomorrow they couldn't remember anything. It was like, I didn't even learn this, so that it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's look at performance. And for me personally, if I look, and I think it's because I'm talking about myself, is that performance, like Marlies said, is processing speed. Now, a lot of children, and adults, and we test a lot of adults as well, struggles with processing speed. I'm almost 49, and I am a slow processing speed.
Very slow.
Very slow. Okay. Does that mean I'm stupid? No. I'm just, don't give me 3 things, give me 2 things. And don't rush me, because then all the wheels are coming off. Okay. And you get this. So there's an illustration that I've got this with like a water going through a funnel. Now, if that funnel gets clogged, and the information is still just keeping going, you're going to get flustered and very impulsive. So someone that processes slowly, let's look at behaviors, or homework takes forever. They're always the last ones in class finishing the work. Okay. Like I said, they struggle to keep up. They are the ones that are our dreamers. And remember now, if a child has got slow processing speed issues, and they are very good students, so it's those ones that are just, they don't do anything wrong, they are just sweet, they are sweet as pie, very quiet. But those children, because they don't have behavioral issues, the teacher don't see them. They fall through the cracks because of the fact that they are sweet and kind and they do all their work. But we pick them up as they grow older and they get into high school. These children's marks start going down, and then when we do an assessment, we see, processing speed was the problem. Okay.
But we see that also if you look at the girls, girls specifically.
Yes.
We see a lot of girls, if we look at our data, a lot of girls with slow processing, so dreamers, and they are the one that's very quiet in the class. And then suddenly, when the work is more difficult, when things start to pick up grade 4, suddenly there's some, fallouts happening, and then we start to pick up that now suddenly they start to struggle.
And the struggling has got nothing to do with their cleverness or their anything. It's just now because they get away with the fact that they are so very bright. But now as work and the workload gets more, that's when they start struggling. And guess what? What's the result? Who's to blame for this? Concentration. It's not. Okay. And I hope this makes sense to you. Also, some is poor listening skills. Okay. Have you ever given your child this? I always use this as an example. Please go to my room, get my purse, take the 10 Rand and give it to your dad. What do? They maybe go down the hall and you don't see them because they see the dog and they start playing with the dog. Now, normally if I use this example, that parents just laugh because that's what they do. Okay. Because they didn't hear all the instructions. Okay. In class, what happens? That's when the teacher stands up and she says, okay, class, let's take out our maths books. Go to page 3. We are continuing with number 2. Poor Pity, her book. He didn't even hear what math.
To do. Yeah.
So, and now, Pity, you're not listening to me in class. It's not that. He's not naughty. He didn't
and you
hear
can take it, but you can take it even further. Let's stick with math, and let's stick with what is the cognitive skills you need to be able. So you would most probably need to be able to pay attention. So sustained attention. Your short-term memory should be strong enough, so all well developed, because if you look at maths is steps, step 1, step 2, step 3. So the child needs to be able to pay attention to the teacher, but then also the shorter memory must be well developed to basically keep that information long enough to start using your working memory, where you start to have that mental flexibility of trying to sort out the problem. But now step 1 is now explained, and that child in his mind is now working out, and maybe if it's a story, do you say story sums, ne? So maybe he's trying to work out and visualizing the first step that's going on, but now the teacher goes on. But that child is still busy on step 1, trying to figure it out. And the teacher is going on and on because she doesn't know the child is a slow processor. So when she's finished with explaining the math, that child missed step 2 and step 3. And then they go on. And it's not really anybody's fault, because we didn't know the child was a slow processor.
And you see this a lot. Marlies does our study method. She's been doing this for 8 years now. And I mean, that's something that you see with study methods. That's a big issue, you know, when they struggle with that. And then especially if they go up in the higher grades, that's when you start having challenges, bigger challenges.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's look at the next one, is impulsivity. Now, I don't have to really go into impulsivity too much, but there's always two ways, and that's how I explain it. So you're either born impulsive. I'm born impulsive. I always interrupt her. You saw that. I'm very good at that, because, you know, she talks too slow and I've got things to say. Yeah. But you are born that way, okay? The other thing is it can be emotional, because if children are anxious and nervous, what do? They get impulsive. So we always try and get to, and the assessment is very, very spot on when we get to distinguishing this between the two. Is it either emotional, or is it just character traits? Okay. Yeah. And the thing with impulsivity is it's a use issue, because children, they read over words. Even as adults, you know, I do that often because I'm so impulsive. Is I will read something. She was just going on me. I was pressing this button, and she says, "You're not reading." Okay, so because I'm just scanning, and it's a problem when you have to perform and not make mistakes. Yeah. So this is where children or students will sit and make stupid mistakes. You know, they sit, they get out of the exam room, and they're like, I know the answer, but they got so anxious that they couldn't do anything. You know, you must remember, if someone are anxious, you can't read, you can't listen, you can't talk, nothing happens. Okay. And that's why self-regulation is so important. But impulsivity is a big issue. But, and I always tell parents, remember, if you tell a 7-year-old to wait, they don't know what that word means. They don't know, because they don't understand why they need to wait. You know, so a lot of them, our statistics shows that up to 7 years, I think, is 29 to 100% of students are impulsive. They still need to develop that skill of self-regulating. Yeah, so they're not rude. They just can't wait. Okay, it's like me. I can't wait. Okay. Then distractions. Now, this one is big, because if you go look at all the tests out there, everyone tested what we tested. But as soon as we threw in the distractions, the auditory and the visual distractions, we got different results. Remember, Professor Andre Venter also said, you know what, no one has ever tested this. And we used another test for 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. We used TOVA. It's an American test that we used, and we had great results. But sometimes we thought, you know, there were things lacking. So we took children that were on the TOVA, and then we tested them with a focus, and the distractions made a huge difference. Okay, because remember now, if loud noises are very disturbing, that child is going to be impulsive because maybe he's getting anxious. Or if they are visually very distracted, so let me give you an example. Pity is in the class and teacher is walking. This is a teacher that walks around the whole time. Now, because he gets distracted, he's going to see everything there that was maybe not there yesterday. So now he's following the teacher, and then he sees, there's new words on the board, and she's carrying on walking, and he didn't hear anything that she was saying. So, Pity, you didn't listen. It's not that. Okay. But now the distractions is going to pull this whole thing together. Okay. So we are measuring both of them. Okay.
I wonder, do you think we should maybe just stop to see if there's questions?
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea.
Before we go on.
Because you're going to see now that as we explained this, and I hope we explained it well so that you can understand it, you are going to understand this report like in that. It's so easy. Okay. So do you want to, I think that's the one that someone emailed us, right?
Oh yeah, that's the.
I think you should maybe read the question, eh? Just scan it maybe.
Okay. So this, the whole one, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just tell that, just give a summary. Just give a summary.
Okay, no, but I didn't read it, so maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this mom is really frustrated because she's got a 3-year-old that is just screaming and hurting the dogs and can't sit still and hurting the dogs. Now, first of all, remember, we don't. I see what you are writing, and it sounds very hectic, but we can't see it. And the other thing is, your child is very young. We can only start testing from 5 years old. So you will see that I did send you an email suggesting that you go to a neurological pediatrician so that they can just do a full evaluation because of that. Because I mean, when I look at your text, you are really worried. So I would really suggest you go there. Yeah. Okay, I think that is all that is there at the moment. Okay, so you are going to see exactly, and I want you to quickly I just want to do a calculation quickly. So work out 72% of 20 minutes. Okay, so if we look at consistency, remember what I said, it's attention span. Now, consistency, let me just get my mouse here. Consistency and performance, both those two constructs, is our positive building blocks of concentration. So we want the score as high as possible. Okay, so if we look at this child's age, so she's 8 years old, and I don't know if you will really be able to see it very thoroughly, but there's a purple line over there. Okay, so I think it's 29% to 69%. Okay, now that is the norm group for 8-year-olds. Now, I said it, it's the norm group. Now forget about it. Okay, because you can see now the blue line is this child's score. And this score, remember we're measuring attention. This score is showing that she is within her norm. Remember what I said, forget about it. So now what I do is, remember, our assessment is 20 minutes long. So what I want you to do is we're going to take 72 minutes and then let me just quickly do that, because I'm a very practical person. So I could tell this mom, okay, so for the 20 minutes that your child was doing this very boring assessment, 14.4 minutes of the 20 minutes, your child was present. I'm talking attention span, right? And remember, that's not now the first 14 minutes. That means it can go up and down. That's only in 20 minutes, okay? So in a half an hour, that's a period in class, it will be about 3/4 of the time. So how fast do they then didn't hear something?
But also, if when I speak to teachers, if you look at one period is 30 minutes, they say the actual and if there's teachers on here, I'm sure you will agree, but the actual teaching time is about only 20 minutes. So 5-6 minutes to lose is a lot. It's a lot.
That's when a teacher gave an instruction and they didn't hear it. Okay. if we look at performance, and now, like I said, performance for me is the biggest one, because if a child falls behind, that is the issue. Okay, let me just, so
yeah. So just to add to Karen, I'm also now getting impulsive like she is, so maybe it's contagious. But if we look at the performance, it's also Fendt also mentioned to us beginning of last year already, that there is clear evidence that there's a whole lot of children or individuals out there that's only slow processors. So they don't have the
skills.
All the other areas that you will normally see with a child that struggles with attention. It's just, if I'm talking about all the behaviors, it's just they are only slow processors. So they look like it's attention, but it's not. Because we can, if we look at some of our focus assessments, there is children there that's got great attention.
And are we going to use an example?
We're going to use an example, but their processing is terrible.
Yes.
But they are not necessarily ADD or ADHD.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we look at this example of the performance, so that's 40% of 20 minutes. So that's 8 minutes that this child was fast enough and accurate. Again, remember, how many times is there going to be tasks given to them? They don't hear it and they make mistakes. So if I do this, and if I tell you your child, so slow processing, okay, is that you need to give them more time. They can't do it so fast. And if you're going to say, come on, Pity, come on, you're going to lose that child. You cannot do that because they can't do that. Okay.
We have to repeat the question more. But you can only do that if you know your child is a slow processor, because then you know how to work with them. So rather than, I'm just thinking of examples, just explaining something to them once, you would maybe need to break up what you're explaining or explain it more than once. And then what we also do is when we work with the kids is when you explain something to them is to ask them, what did you hear? What should you do? What should you do?
Okay. But remember, it's like we said, you don't know these things. You saw all of these behavior examples, but can you see that this scientific objective measurement is going to link these things together? Okay, so you can see, so we want to go to 85% and higher. That's where we want to go. Now, impulsivity, we don't want to be impulsive. Okay, so now we want this score to be to the left-hand side. So we want this score to be 5% and less. Now, if a child looks like this, okay, and remember what I said, he's also a slow processor. So this child, although when he did the assessment, in his character and how he is, he's not an impulsive child. But as soon as he gets stressed, because maybe you are telling him to quickly do the thing and finish the work in class, and maybe a teacher screaming on him, you always last or whatever, you will see that impulsive behavior. Or when they sit in class and they're answering a question or paper, they're not impulsive, but now that they see they don't have time, they're going to start behave impulsive and make stupid mistakes, but it's not the primary problem. The primary problem is the processing speed. And I hope that makes sense to you. Okay. And then I'm going to go over here to the distraction. So you'll see over there, that's the visual distractions. That's the auditory distractions. And then the overall distractions is just a combination. Now, this is normally a difficult one to explain so that you can comprehend. Now, distractions, we don't want the score to be too low. This is too low, okay? But we don't want the score to be too far to the right-hand side as well. We want it actually to be here somewhere in the middle. So what this assessment is showing me is that Pity is fast asleep. Remember now, he's a slow processor. So everything is just, he's in a bubble. He just doesn't hear and see anything. He's not naughty. He's just not there.
Zones out.
He zones out. So it's too far to the left, because what do we want? You must be aware of what's happening. I'm hearing Cornelia, her husband is braaiing. I'm seeing the fire as I'm sitting here, but I can filter the distractions and keep on track, because it's not normal to not hear anything, and it's also abnormal if I would have stopped and just look at the nice fire outside
and forget about everyone watching. Yeah, so everybody has a normal. You have to have the ability to filter distractions,
yes,
and then stay on top.
Yes. Okay, so now we need to get to
the example.
So how do I do that? So now the tech, we just need to quickly.
So now we're going to open. Sorry, I'm going to stop share here, and then I'm going to share screen again.
Okay, there you go. And I'm going to just use one, maybe that one.
Okay, so this is the. Let me just
take that one.
This one?
Yeah. Oops, I want to show you this one. This is when we tested her last year, she was 17 years old. And this child, very bright.
Just want to check. No, it's not.
I think it's just delayed.
I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Let's just make sure that you're going to see it.
That you can see the example.
Okay. So let me give you some background so long, just again. So she, very bright, good marks. But all of a sudden, from about grade 10, her mum said that her maths marks were going down. And remember what I said, that's normally one of the few things that parents, phone us and say, but listen, marks are going down. So I said to them, just come in for a focus, because I can't go on what you are saying. We need a mathematical answer, yeah? And the other thing is, remember, there's no person involved in this assessment. I'm just going to interrupt myself here, but our oldest son was diagnosed in grade 3 with autism. And in grade R, he was diagnosed first with ADHD. So we had a very long run of going from person to person to person. And like I said, my husband is a professor in chemistry. He doesn't believe anything if there's no science behind everything. And he would always say that people will say, but he's struggling with this. Then he will say, how much? And, show me the numbers. And that's very important. But the other thing was, we would take Henry to different people, because remember, at that time, he's now 20 years old. At that time, we had no cooking clue what was wrong with him. And as we were going from psychologists to OT, to call
speech therapists,
to call it, and different OTs, everyone said something different. There was specifically, there's 3 people that we went to. If I took that report, I promise you guys, and I put it on a table, and you read those 3 reports, you would have thought it was 3 different children. And that was for us the main thing, is don't give me your opinion. Give me science. Give me a statistical answer. And I think this is what's great. And if they do this assessment, they don't have to write or do anything. This is the most boring test under the sun, I promise you, because they just need to press a space bar. So it's not difficult to do. But it's very boring. So
it's not difficult, but difficult.
If you struggle, yeah. I can't do it. I can't do it if I don't have my phone in my hand.
It's the longest 20 minutes of your life.
Okay. So getting back to this girl, is that, can you now see that her attention is 83%? So that's not so bad. So why was she then now struggling with maths? Because it doesn't make any sense. There you can see the problem. She is slow. She is a slow processor. So what happens in maths, especially in that grades, it's fast. We're going, we're moving. So we are leaving you behind. And now she needs to catch up on the work also that she's losing. So can you see? So that was her only issue. She's a slow processor. No impulsivity at all. But can you see, and this is the example, it wasn't her attention span.
Yeah, I'm just moving over to to show everybody. Sorry, we have to go in and out every time now.
I'm going to show the distraction. Okay, look at this. So
okay,
look at.
I'm just sorry, Sis Karen.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure this thing out because it's not sharing all the time.
Okay.
I love technology. It's wonderful.
So what we did next, so remember now, processing speed is slow, but now the next thing I did now was we turned the page around. So remember now, this assessment, like I said, is very boring. So we don't want to involve them or get them excited. All they need to do, there's a yellow star that's flashing on the screen. If it's colored in, they need to press the space bar as fast as possible. It's not the right one.
Oh, sorry.
It's not the right one.
You see, I don't have my
glasses on. Okay, and then if it's just outlined, you need to leave it. And that's all you do for 20 minutes. So this star is flashing.
I'm just looking for, sorry, Karen, you just go on.
It's flashing, and you just need to either press the space bar or leave it. And then there's auditory distractions on there, and then also little people walking on the screen. So to see if they are distracting.
Sorry, I'm just closing the windows here because I'm just looking for.
But I'm going to tell you now what happens with her. So her visual distractions was very, very low. So and remember I said she's a slow processor, is that when she sits in the maths class, because she hates maths, she is not listening to the teacher. She's not paying attention. So he's walking around, and so she was absolutely in her bubble and not taking in anything. So we needed to help her to be faster, get her brain going, get her more aware. And we just did her, after 40 sessions, we reevaluate them. It's after 7 months. And she went from that percentage to 95%. So a great results that and I mean, that's what we work with. That's so great. And the thing is with the focus is that as we work with the children, every 7 months, we measure again, scientifically. Okay. And that's the focus assessment. And I hope that this makes sense to you, is that if you can understand your child's behavior, where it comes from, and if you've got that results, you're going to handle your child's homework totally different. There's not going to be so many screaming going on, because you are going to understand that they are not doing this on purpose. Okay.
And it not only will help you as a parent at home, especially now, but also when they go back to school, when they go back and they have to be in class, to try and understand, for the teacher then to understand something about your child that they maybe didn't know. I know years ago there was I think it was a girl, but she was very quiet. She didn't do too bad in school. She was average, but her parents believed that she can do much better. And when we did the assessment, the attention was fine, everything was fine, but she was a dreamer, totally a dreamer. And when we looked at where she sat in the class, in the front, facing, in the front, of the class, and also next to the door. So now you can think for yourself. Nobody's going to see her. She's quiet. She's looking out, thinking of all the birds and the bees, and
she was
Saturday's party and everything going on, because you can't see it. But the moment we assessed her, we were able to immediately help the teacher also understand, to know how to work with her and sit with her. So sit her, maybe closer to the teacher, or depending on how the classroom looked, when the teacher passes, just touch the shoulder. It's not necessary for the teacher to say, hey, are you awake? You're not listening. It's just that touching and bringing them back to the here and now.
Yeah. Okay, so as you know, we've got about 50 agencies throughout the country. So you can, this assessment, number one, can be done online, but we prefer that you go to your nearest center. If there's a center in your area, you can just go to our website, and then if you go to find a center, you will be able to find someone, you will be able to find the person
agency
there.
near you.
And then you can just contact them. Or if you are maybe staying in Welkom or Edinburgh or Pitzonnewater or wherever, and you want it to be done online, we do have that functionality as well. So we've got a special offer now, in any case now so the focus assessment is normally 400 Rand. That includes the assessment that we do with your child, your report that you're going to get, and we sit for an hour with you, explaining to you, answering all your questions, bringing all these loose ends together. Okay, that's the process. So even our normal price is very, very cheap, but we've got a special offer now for 250 Rand. So if there's anyone who are interested in grabbing this, you need to, now, do it now. Okay, so you can comment in the Q&A, just put your names in there. And your email address, please, and
maybe offer,
and then offer. If you can't do it here, and you will see we are live streaming on Facebook, on our Facebook page. If you want to make use of this, you need to go into the comments and just write, we will have your name, and just say offer. And then we're going to send you a special link where we are going to be able to give you this offer. Okay. And like I said, please, we've got wonderful agents all across South Africa that will be able to help you.
Yeah, lots of them are also professionals.
Yeah.
OTs,
yes.
Speech therapists,
psychologists, okay.
Doctors.
So we want to ask you to, as soon as possible, because this is going to expire, because you know how it works. You are now all fired up, and this is going to help me. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you're like, So we want to, because we know the difference this is going to make for you. So we want you to take action now, okay? So we want you to, if you are going to go into the chat box, into the Q&A, put your name and your email address there so that we can send you the offer. Otherwise, go to our Facebook page. You have got time until 12 o'clock tonight to put in your name there and just say offer, and then tomorrow we will send you the link with a special offer. Okay.
So let's go through the Q&As. You can discuss, Karen.
Okay.
So this one?
Okay, so this person, I can't see what it is. Okay, you have the problem. How does the assessment help resolve it? How does this help them in class as a teacher cannot give attention to different personalities? Okay, Adele, that's a very good question. Remember now what we said, and I see someone is asking here, saying, are we just selling the assessments? Yes, I'm selling the assessment, because otherwise how are you going to get to the answer? If you have the behavior, we need the behavior. We need to measure the skill set, because that skill set, what we showed you just now, is going to explain the behavior. Okay. And then if we understand the behavior, like I explained just now, is if you understand your child is a slow processor, you are not going to give him only 5 minutes to do a task, you're going to give him 10 minutes to do a task. Okay.
But I think what we should do, because this is something that we did discuss, I'm just trying to answer this person as well.
Yeah.
Because this person was asking, are you going to give any answers or solutions also? Because now you identified something that you want to help a child with, but how? So yes, we can give you a solution, and there is solutions, and that was something we discussed this afternoon. Is we are going to do our next webinar where we will be showing you exactly what we do and what the solution is.
Yeah, because we've got, remember, like I said, we started with this because actually of my son. And I said, yes, okay, so this is the problem, so what do we do now? And that's actually how BioLink came about, is because of that.
Okay. So this is question here.
How do you incorporate this with the schools? If you have worked with a child, do you let the school know, and how do they react to this assessment to help the child further in class? I just want to know if teachers are willing to work with you to help a child. Okay, so we've got, I don't know the name there. So yes, in Bloemfontein, like I said, we started here, and in Bloemfontein, and I don't know if we've got teachers on here, but we are, because of our reputation, the teachers refer the parents to us. And then also, you know, we can help them understand the child. So if we do the feedback on our form, we ask them, do you want us to go and talk to the teacher? Because we give that service as well, because you know, you will not be able to explain this result to the teacher as the person that, you know, works with it. So we do that. And you know what? They really, I think they're very positive. We don't have
I just wanted
teachers.
To say.
We've got schools, you know, calling us to do this. So it really helps them to understand the child. Teachers wants to help.
We work closely. So this is basically, you know, it's a process, but everybody's taking hands to help the child at the end of the day. So the feeling, if I can explain it like that we get from teachers when we approach them to discuss a report is very, very positive, because we are here to help, and we are here to help the teacher, but we are also there to help the child and the parent as well. So it's a combination. It's a combination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And like I said, what's so important is to remember that this doesn't show you what's wrong. It just shows you where your child is at now. And I think, don't you think we should show, well, we can't show them that one. We've got, remember now, with us, with the work that we do, we've got a lot of before and afters, but we can discuss and show you some of that with children that we worked with, the results, because we then go specifically work with that specific skill set that they're struggling with, and then we are strengthening that. Okay.
Ja. Net sowieso, ek dink
okay, ja.
Net ek het baie dalk iets gemis. Okay. Ja, so sorry, English. Sorry. So just looking at time and to explain to everybody really the solution
is to understand,
it's going to take us on this platform too long time. So what we always tell parents or anybody that contacts us is, let's start with an assessment, and then from there on we will explain to you exactly what we see, and then we will explain to you exactly how our solution, or how our neurocognitive training program works for that specific child. And it's just important, I'm just going to answer it here, because it looks like there is some questions, people wanting to know, but
what do you do
and how do you do it? So just in short, like I said, if you can think back about that image about of the tree, and the output, the leaves, is all the skills we want our children to do. Listen, self-regulate, don't fidget, remember, be able to do maths. The one is concentrate. But in order to do that, we have to go back, and we have to go back and look at all the cognitive skills that are important, and that cognitive skills must be developed. Maybe I can go back just to the first one, just to show you. And I just made this one. Oh gosh, there you are. Just to show you, you know, how it works. So I'm a registered nurse, so I'm also, you know, when you think of when you're ill, just taking, let's take something like ADHD. Let's put it out there. Just giving medication is not going to solve all these problems. So it's not going to suddenly help your child process information slowly. It's not necessarily going to strengthen the short term and the long term and in the working memory.
Not going to help the
It's
distractions.
Yeah, so it's not going to solve all those problems. Yes, attention definitely for the right child is going to work, but we have to go back to the root. And if you look at this image on the left, that's all the cognitive skills we have to look at. We have to work on attention. Now again, that's just one. That you get different types of attention. Then you get memory, different types of memory, auditory and visual processing. You know, there's lots of cognitive skills that we need to strengthen. And what's great is, remember, the brain is neuroplastic. So if you give the brain the right training and exercises, these skills can be taught and strengthened. And because your cognitive skills is, if they are then well developed and strengthened, then you get your because they are the underlying if I can call it the roots for your executive functioning skills. Now, your executive functioning skills is it's more your higher functioning skills. And now I can tell you that we see the problems here. Let me just look, I can't read here, but organization, task initiation, working memory, planning, processing, planning and prioritizing. Impulse control, all those skills is also things that we see a lot. And if they are older, the kids are older, like in grade 4 now, they have to start with learning subjects and stuff. And they struggle because all these cognitive skills and executive functioning skills was not fully developed or strengthened. And now on the right, this is just an illustration to show you, because everything works together. So even if one cognitive skill is not necessarily well developed, it's going to have an impact on your executive functioning and at the end, the output. So the training that we do is what is nou die woord? Surround, ek wil nou sê, it's focused, sorry. The training that we do is focused on strengthening and developing cognitive and executive functioning skills. And the program is 100% individualized and customized. And because we know we've done the focus, we know exactly which areas and what exercises. So we do cognitive exercises to help the child, you know, how to do it. And then also it's important to know that I always tell teachers and sometimes the parents also, if we look at focus, it's a different thing. So what does it mean to concentrate? So I can say, Karen, concentrate. And she wouldn't know really what is it. And when I work with kids as well in study methods, I ask them, okay, so if your teacher tells you to concentrate, what do? Now I must sit still and I must keep quiet. That's what I must do. But it's not that. It's actually a feeling. So the other part that we do, or that's part of our program, is that the child now for the first time in real time can see his attention. Is he paying attention, and is he not paying attention while doing cognitive training exercises? And then important part of that as well is our coaching and working with the kids, where we help them shaping certain behaviors that they struggle with. Because for the first time, the child is doing say for instance, the child is doing a short-term memory exercise. The child needs to be actively engaged. The child now can see for the first time if he is engaged or not. And then, say for instance, the child's looking away or thinking about something, our coaches is then there to help them and guide them back. And then ask them, okay, did you see what is happening here? So if you are not focusing or staying on task because you were looking away or fidgeting, this means in class, you are not going to know, or you are maybe going to miss some of the very important information that is shared in class. And I must tell you, because I'm doing study methods, oh my gosh, I see them from grade 4. listening skills, the ability to filter distractions, the ability to pay attention, to organize, spatial memory. That's such an important memory skill. They struggle with it.
Okay. We're going to look at one last question. There's so many questions. Okay, is that someone is asking, if a child has been diagnosed with ADHD and is on medication, will this have an impact on the focus test? Will we be able to see the true problem or the result? And if so, may it mean that possibly a child was misdiagnosed? Okay, so important here is that, remember, I first want to say is that, remember, we are not anti-medicine. Please, not at all. Because some children really do need medicine. What we do with medication is, and this person's child is on Ritalin, is that we always test without medication. The reason why we do that is we don't want a mask result. We want to see how the child looks without his medication. But we do have parents that come in and say, but I want you to test my child with medication as well. When we did our retest reliability research, we did test children with and without medication. And what we did see is that some children test much better with medication, and some kids did test worse with medication. But remember, that's why you need to really work with a specialist when diagnosing ADHD. That's very important. And I just wanted to say one last thing is that how I felt as a parent is that I had all these results. So they were telling me all of these and I had to put Henry on Ritalin. I said, that's fine. I will put him on Ritalin. But how is that going to help me teach him the skills that he needs? How is that skills? Because if he doesn't take the medication, it's gone. And that's how we came to what we do, and that's how the business evolved. Okay.
Yeah.
So just important, people think that we are very anti-medication.
No, not at all. Okay. Lizanne, I just wanted to also add here, just with regards to medication, it's going to depend on the type of medication as well. Because if you look at your Ritalin and Nucon, I think they both fall within the short-acting medication, so they are basically in and out of the system, whereas with your medications such as Strattera, they stay in the system for a long time. So with those children as well, say for instance they are on Strattera, we test them on their medication, but then we make a clear note on the medication that they were tested on their medication. It's also just, I want to say, because it might, I'm just trying to answer a question, because now we have a mask look. But remember, always when we also work with the kids, our program has got at the background, it's got data that we can specifically look at, you know, at the child's performance and from the beginning, you know, till the end. So we've got various types of measurements that we do along with the focus assessment. And we always look at what medication they are on.
I just want to answer this question because we get this a lot. Do you think that the amount of time our children spend on technology is a cause for this problem? Now, the interesting thing is when, like I said, my two sons and his daughter, they're 18 and 20. And then I've got the Lard Lameki. So I was 41 when I had another child. So he's now in grade 2. And I'm ADHD, my husband, everyone is ADHD, she's ADHD. And what's the chance of him not having those fantastic traits as well? Yeah. And so people will say, oh, but he's so clever. And I was going like, no, I know what are the skill set that children are struggling with. So I was playing games with him since he was 4 years old. So doing patterns, remembering orders, things like that. I did that. But he's also on his iPad and he loves Roblox. So to answer your question, it's not only technology. Too much of it, yes. But you know what? Technology absolutely has got a place for it as well. I use technology when we do our spelling words because I let him Google. So I think it's just the amount It's that ratio, it's that balance, but it's not only that.
Yeah.
The reason is, and that's why I'm telling you about my smaller child, is that children don't play as the older ones or as we did.
And so, communicate.
Yeah, they don't communicate, yes.
So that's why, well, sorry, Cora, I'm just interrupting Cora again, but like with technology specifically, and I think with kids today, they don't go, like you say, they don't go out and play outside anymore in the mud, climb the tree, you know, have that sensory feedback that they get.
They don't make plans because they don't build bridges. You remember what we did as children?
Yeah.
So they don't do that anymore. So those skills are not taught anymore, and that's why the building blocks. We've got problems here at the bottom, but you can rectify it, and that's the thing.
But also, I just want to add with this last comment. Also, remember what has been expected of our children today was not expected years back.
Yes.
So, way back when we started, we were taught how to read and write in sub-R. And now they have to do it. So now we have to put so much more effort in developing that cognitive and executive skills from a younger age. So that's why we are really encouraging parents from a very young age, from grade R, to already start investing in their children in developing these skills.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for something to be a problem. Wrong. Be proactive.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think we already went over our
6 minutes.
And thank you for all the lovely messages that you guys sent. Now, if technology goes wrong, we've got loads of people asking for the special offer. If you don't have a link tomorrow by, let's say, 11 o'clock, please contact us. Just go to, and I want to actually encourage you, and please ask you, go to our Facebook page and just say offer, because then we'll have your name there and I can send you a direct link. I just want to not miss that some of you missed this, but if at any time you struggle, you've got our website, you can go and contact us there as well. And thank you. It was very nice having all of you. Thank you for all the lovely responses. And like I said, this is really just to help you understand what's wrong in the sense of where do I start? Just there, and then we can plan from there. Yeah. Okay, guys, it was wonderful.
Last thing, I want to invite you on our website. You can go and create your own profile. So we've got a media center where, depending on now the age of your kids, but we've got a media center there where you can download desk coloring books and spelling books and stuff. So what you do is you create your profile, and then you've got your own password and login, and then you can go in there and download whatever you would need.
There's lots of Afrikaans and English subjects there. Okay, and we're going to do this again, but we're going to do it in Afrikaans next week. Yeah. So if there's anyone that you feel that maybe can benefit from this, tell them, but we will go advertise.
This was our best English.
It was our best English.
Our English is now finished.
Okay, guys. Okay, everyone. You must have a great day. Bye. Bye.